there is going to keep shifting.
All right, we do have Courtney Hazlett of MSNBC inside the arena. Courtney, what can you tell us?
You know, it's interesting. I was just taking notes saying that I've never seen such a large group of people be silent for so long. I was trying to do the math, and I think for more than 10 minutes now, there's been basically, there's some applause right now. But for almost 10 minutes, this entire group of people completely silent. We've been watching some of the family. I presume it's the family walk-in. When they go past certain sections, there's a lot of applause. And right now, yes, that's exactly what it is. Family right in front of the stage. I'm told that this is going to be a 90-minute service. Organizers have confirmed that with me. We are getting underway a little bit late, but that's quite honestly no real surprise when it comes to the Jacksons.
All right, so apparently the delay, Lester was loading family members into their seats we saw some of the cars. As you mentioned, there are separate entrances for family, friends, VIP, and members of the public. And we saw some of the cars coming in through what is normally the athletes' entrance here at the Staples Center.
Yeah, they're coming in that way. And looking at the list, some of the folks you may not have known had a relationship with Michael Jackson. Kobe Bryant, it turns out, had become quite good friends with Michael Jackson. He's one of the participants here, a guy who knows the Staples Center from a much different perspective. And he will likely talk about his conversations in which Michael would tell him, don't ever be afraid to be different. And we certainly know that Michael Jackson was different. But we will, I think, learn a lot about these relationships and how he touched different folks along the way here today as each has a turn to speak.
Mike Taibbi out in the crowd. Mike, we could talk about the Jackson family, choose your generation, and be at it all day. As the family members come in the arena, some thoughts from you on the same subject.
Well, I think one thing I've learned in the past week since Jackson died, Brian, and the story I did last week on the Today Show involved Michael Jackson and his 3 children. Prince Michael, Paris, his daughter, she's 11, Prince Michael's 12, and the third child, Prince Michael II, who's known as Blanket, always has been in his family. And it's what was his relationship with them? And we spoke with Al Malnick, who'd been a longtime Jackson friend, lives in Florida, in Ocean Ridge, Florida, near Palm Beach. And he'd had the Jacksons down there, Michael and the kids and their nanny, a number of times. And he said that the really cool thing about it was that what everybody thought was an eccentric notion of Michael Jackson, that the only way he would go out in public with his kids if he had them veiled and totally covered, and it did look weird, it did look eccentric, actually worked. It achieved its purpose, because when the kids were down with Malnick's kids, and Malnick has 10 kids with his wife Nancy, they'd all go out and Jackson's kids would take their veils off and nobody knew who they were. They could just be a regular kid, all of them regular kids, and a bunch of regular kids. They can go to the movies, they can go to get ice cream and all of that. And the kids loved it, and Jackson loved that they could do it. And one night, we showed this on the Today Show as well, Michael said he always wanted to know what it was like to go to a supermarket and shop like a regular person. So Malnick, who has some influence, a lot of juice down there, had a closed supermarket, opened at night, and had some ringers brought in to play other shoppers, including Jackson's nanny for the kids. And Michael came in and pushed a cart around and filled it up with all kinds of things, including Life magazine. That's when this was done, that had on its cover Elizabeth Taylor. I noticed in looking at the pictures closely, really an extraordinary story about Michael and the kids, which leads to the question, what happens to the kids now? Now there'll be a custody battle, perhaps, if Debbie Rowe, the biological mother of the 2 oldest of Michael Jackson's children, decides to challenge. She said she might not. Who knows how that's going to work out in the end. And then any of Jackson's 8 siblings, are any of them going to step up and want to take charge? Or will the judge approve that? Those questions still to be decided in custody proceedings, which have begun and which will resume next week. Brian?
Mike Taibbi outside. We've also learned that when Jennifer Hudson and Lionel Richie walked in to take their positions, that was the reason for some of the applause we heard. Lester Holt continues to watch with us. And Lester, very few Americans find anything familiar about the life of the personal life, how he has lived over these past several years, certainly. And more than that, a lot of parents saw a heartbreaking moment when Joe Jackson, his father, in the immediate aftermath of Michael Jackson's death, came out in the driveway of the home in Encino and said the kids are inside with their cousins and they're getting along fine. They haven't been around other kids. And when you think about it, of course they haven't. But and you realize the reasons for it, I guess, but how heartbreaking.
Well, and you think how reclusive Michael Jackson has been since that trial, even you could argue somewhat before, but that nature then surrounds everyone around him, and certainly his kids. But, we have to stand back, because I've watched this, and there has been a circus, quality to this whole thing, and sometimes we have to remember that he was a person too. And certainly, odd in the estimation of many of us, but, he had children, kids that only know him as their father, a mother and father. These people are grieving, and they are going through what anyone would go through, the loss of a son or a brother. But at the same time, he was such a over-the-top personality that it follows him into death. I mean, consider the fact that not only all these people have come here, Brian, there are 37 movie theaters around the country right now that are carrying this. That people are, from Florida to California, walking to movie theaters right now and watching this. And as you mentioned, around the world, I mean, I heard a dozen languages just making away from the trailer up here a little while ago. The interest is just beyond anything that not anything, but very few things that we've ever seen and we've ever covered.
To Lester's point, Nancy Giles, who continues to watch with us, it is hard to get your arms around the media coverage of this. And, as a friend of mine says, the American public has a funny way of deciding for itself what its major moments are going to be culturally, and what to be interested in, despite at sometimes the news media's better wishes. And this is an event because it is.
This is huge. I mean, I have never seen anything like this in my life. The closest I can think of this kind of reaction was when Princess Diana died 10 plus years ago. I'm staggered by the fact that there's so much news coverage that everything is literally stopped in the news today to mark the passing of this incredible musician.
And George Lewis, I'm told, is now with us from that family compound in Encino, where it really has become a matter of media management, traffic management.